All right. Hey guys, it's Iz.
Hey guys, it's Naj,
Hey, it's Robyn.
Hi guys, it's Beat.
and today we're here with a Landon episode where we're going to be talking about theories and answer some of your questions that you may have based on season 3 or alone. So
I know that,
I can hear this time.
I know that after the finale, we got a lot of questions where actually Leah specifically asked for this episode because there was a lot of confusion as far as Landon in season 3. And
yes.
I think that this episode is needed because I don't think people quite understood what was happening. So, also, I mean, it's a Landon episode. So, we love our boy Landon. We could talk about him forever.
He's he's my comfort character, so I can talk on and on about my boy. So
and you know what? A whole episode dedicated to loving him. I mean, of course.
And praising Arya, because Arya, if you're watching this, you put your foot in this season, okay? You're acting snap. You played several Landons, and as you should get an Oscar. Love you.
For sure.
Yeah.
But before we get into the Landon episode, let's get into our Handon Weekly Writing Challenge because we haven't had one of those for a while. And I was talking to Paige and Alex today, and we kind of came up with this idea about doing a 3-part Handon Weekly Challenge series. So it's 3 prompts, 3 stories, each due, so one's due August 1st, one's due October 1st, and September 1st, and one's due October 1st. So it'll give us something to do, it'll keep us entertained, it'll, drown the Handon tag with some lovely fluff, hopefully, because Alex and I are not so good with the fluff sometimes. We're kind of the fandom heartbreakers, and then Paige is like the mender, where she comes up with the fluff. But anyways, so it's a Fun in the Sun series, and the first prompt is beach. We'll release the other prompts later, but the first prompt is beach, and it is due August 1st. So writers, you know what to do. And if editors want to make it a challenge for themselves, please do a Fun in the Sun edit challenge too. Let's open it up to everyone, not just writers.
Yeah. So your edits, picture edits. I will be trying my best to bust up some manips. So yeah,
And with that, now we can get into the Landon episode. Naj?
So we asked you guys to send us Landon questions, and we got a lot of everywhere. Maybe almost 30 questions, so this will be a long video. Okay, so the first question is from Stacy Jane, which is also known as Handon Endgame. Will Landon break through and fight for hope, and how? The answer to your question, yes. And I feel like Hope will also be fighting for Landon. It's not just going to be Landon fighting to get to Hope. Once again, I hope we see like her trying to get into his mind and seeing, to get to interact with him, because once again, Malivore has control over him. So
it's kind of like bringing up the greatest destroyer of all is love, because I feel like that's going to be playing with not like with Hope and Landon necessarily together, but they're finding their way back to each other, trying to get past Malivore, and like that greatest destroyer of Malivore is their love for each other, and them willing to fight for that kind of power over Malivore, I guess you can say. And I feel like now that Malivore knows that, especially with what happened in the finale with, when he saw those flashes, Malivore knows that, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get past it, but I don't think they will have an issue because so I'm gonna go back to the originals because I just did a season 4 rewatch, and in season 4, when Hope was infected with the Hollow, they talked about darkness a lot, and it was very like Malivore paralleled. Like it was when Hope was overtaken by the Hollow, she was stuck in darkness and she was fighting to hang on, but she was losing the battle.
And I feel like that is a good parallel to what Landon is going through, because when the Hollow also took over, what was her name, Sophia, she said that there was a part of her that was kind of buried in the corner and watching what the Hollow was doing, and she couldn't do anything about it. And I feel like this, like Malivore taking over Landon's body, is very much like what the Hollow had done to people when they took over their bodies. And same with Hope. So, like, the fact that this also parallels something that Hope went through in her life, not once, but twice. I mean, come on. The end game parallels to that. The fact that, like, Landon is now stuck inside his body, in his mind, probably in a cage.
Having
Like,
to watch all this, having to watch Malivore and Landon and Hope interact and everything,
yeah.
being able
And
to say anything.
And there's a scene in it where Klaus goes into Hope's head and tells her to fight. And I feel like that's something that Hope would do to see if Landon is still in there, right? Because, like, so the whole season they've talked about like fate and destiny and, you know, all of that stuff. I mean, look at the last title of the last episode was, you know, Fate's a bitch. And um just the fact that they kept bringing up fate, the fact that they're fated to destroy each other, and yet their love is actually what is the destroyer rather than them
Exactly.
themselves. Like, that's basically them saying, like, okay, again, we were fated to destroy each other, but we fell in love, so screw fate. And I love the fact that in that episode, Hope, she never really gave up.
Yeah.
Like, she was upset, and she was just like, oh, you know, destiny disagrees, when she was talking to Clark. And then at the end, like when she got in the car with him when they were going to find Landon and Cleo, and he was just like, oh, you know, so you are gonna fight. And then at the end in the hospital, she was just like, when he was just like, okay, well, maybe you can't fight fate. And it was like, well, actually, I kind of think the opposite. Like, she's always kind of thought the opposite. She's always thought that she could fight fate, but it was Malivore putting that doubt in her when he broke up with her, you know? Um, because he hit her where it hurt the most.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like I said, I've always said that if I was an evil villain, that's what I would do,
Yeah.
right?
I think his seeing Landon gave up on their love was something that she wasn't expecting. So I think
Yeah,
that it was something that hurt her at the time, and Malivore like did like this, the only thing that could break her in that moment.
And the fact that Clark even knew that Landon would never leave Hope or never give up on her,
Yeah.
like he even knew that. So he had doubt in his mind that that was even Landon, but it really triggered when he was like, obviously he found out, like he knew about the darkness. It's like there's only one person who would know about the darkness, and that
Yeah,
was
like I feel
Malfoy.
like knowing Landon, like he never wanted to give up on a relationship even when it first started. Like had doubts about them, like, you know, for a while, and he never gave up. He always wanted to talk. He always wanted to communicate with her. And the fact is that as soon as he comes back from the prison, where the first thing he does is break up with her, it doesn't even sound like him. Like even when he literally got killed several times, which can be traumatic, you know, as well as being on the prison world, he was like nothing happened. Like he talked to. So for this to be the Jurassic measure of, well, we can't be together because, you know, we're meant to destroy each other. I'm like, Landon knew about that from the beginning. So what the fuck would cause him to just stop caring now?
well, and then
No.
you think, if you go on the flip side of it and you go to 305, which was supposed to be the season premiere, and you have Hope literally in her own head going, Landon would never want me to give up on him. That was a
Yeah.
foreshadow of the entire season.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that, first off, the reveal of him, of the masked man being Landon in 305, and then the reveal of Golem Landon in 312, and then masked Skull Landon in 312, but then also the reveal of Malivore in 316. Like, there have been so many reveals of this Landon throughout the season, and they literally foreshadowed it in 305 when she pulled the mask off of him. Like, just the fact that you do you remember we talked about when they were sitting down on the couch and there was a symbology of her being a wolf and then him near the fire and then kind of being like in this little room together with all the animals and stuff. And that was basically like foreshadowing the entire season, if you think about it, in that first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the season was about like Handon and like but mostly Hope's growth on like Landon and her relationship, because in season 2 before it was ending she would doubt in the relationship what happened in the simulation thing. So this whole season was strengthening how like her faith in the relationship now.
Yeah.
So like I
think it
feel
was all
like
about. Yeah, I can go.
because like when Landon comes back, I feel like they'll be on the same page, which is why they said season 3 is going to help Handon get on the same page. So
Yeah.
they're really going to be strong as ever when season 4 starts, or when we get Handon.
Yeah, I think this season was all about Hope's love for Landon. Like
Yeah, like
all we got was like the Landon we got from the Golem Landon was all from her memories, and so
yeah.
I think that's very significant of them to put that out there. Like you could see how she sees Landon loving her, like the fact that he said I was is like I was made to love you. She the way he loves her, she thinks that that's the one person that was created to love her because who understands her, and he's the only person that can give her what she needs
Yeah.
from her point of view.
Where's my kid?
Yeah,
Well, and he accepts and embraces her for who she is. I
yeah,
mean,
all her parts,
yeah,
no judgment.
if you go back
Like,
to season 5 of the originals, and it's like bring Roman up for a second, where
yeah,
he wanted her to bind her werewolf powers, and the person that was fighting against that was Klaus. And I really think that, and Landon would have fought against it too had he known. And I really think that Klaus would have approved of Landon because Landon literally loves every single part of Hope. There's no part of Hope that he doesn't love. I mean, right down to even the protectiveness of her and the way that she's always, saving herself. And what's really funny is now that I'm rewatching the originals too, and there's these parallels. Like if you look at Freya and Keelan, Freya was like always saving her family, and she even said to Vincent, like at the beginning of season 5, she said that she was going to leave New Orleans because she wanted to choose her own happiness. And I was just like, holy shit, it's like Hope. Like the parallels that they've brought over that you don't even think about until now. Like she is literally, Rebecca and Freya and constantly, except for now, rather than her family, she's choosing the school. She's always choosing the school. She's always choosing everyone else instead of going for what she wants. And I know this is a Landon episode, but this does kind of tie into the whole Landon thing. But she had people actually supported her in the same way that she supports them. She would have gotten Landon back a hell of a lot sooner.
yeah. And the thing is that everyone assumed that Landon would be fine, and actually he was possessed. He got taken over during that time.
The thing is people didn't even care about Landon. They were like, okay. And I'm going to get into the argument that people are trying to bring up, saying, laughing at Handon, saying that Hope didn't even realize that was not Landon. Neither did your faves. Okay. So,
No, but like, what is that for her to see? Because first, he literally was her version of him. How is she gonna see anything, if
Okay.
Landon was acting out of her memories? And second, he literally just come back from a traumatizing experience. It was made sense for him to.
Yeah. So I have a theory about Golem Landon. So do you remember when Hope and Cleo were making the bust and they were mixing the clay up, and that light glowed?
Yeah.
So Cleo was touching Hope's hands. So I think that she did her powers are almost like a two-way radio thing. And rather than putting memories into Hope's head, she took memories from Hope's head and channeled them into the bust. Because in 316, she says, "You are not the Landon Kirby that I saw in Hope's heart."
Yeah.
And I think that when she did that with Hope, that was her trying to see who Landon was in Hope's perspective. And that was why Golem Landon was so spot on, is because he was literally made from Hope's heart. He wasn't made, like, it wasn't just memories. It was literally like, if all I ever have is the memory of the way he loved me, he was literally that statement in clay form.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, lots of people didn't notice. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people just missed the idea of that literally the main purpose of, you know, Golem Landon was her memories. Like, it's not like they just threw personality traits together into Landon and she just ran with it. He literally acted the same way she would assume he would. He acted the same way he would. He knew things that Landon only knew. And of course, Hope was not going to know every dumbass thing that, you know, Landon possibly do, like such as the D&D thing. But from personality-wise and how he acts and how he carries himself, that's how she knew him as.
And how he accepts her, because she knows it. And it was also a way to showcase her love for him, because everyone was always doubting, everyone, and by everyone I don't mean Handons, but I mean other people in the fandom, were doubting her love for him, thinking that she was just there to protect him, or, you know, she's just doing this, or, you know, whatever. But that's not what it was. Literally, the purpose of Golem Landon was to show that Hope actually does love him, purely, truly, happily loves him. And he loves her every bit in return.
Yeah, and also it goes into that's the whole season 1 scenario of Hope had never gave anybody else a chance until Landon came into her heart. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when Golem Landon and her had that talk in season 3, he said that you can, you know, I can show you everybody else. Meaning that even though she still talks to people now, as you know, opposed to her being closed off in season 1, she still don't really care that much. Well, she didn't build any of their bonds close enough for them to even compete. Like, and it's not saying that, oh, well, Landon is, you know, taking all Hope's time and like she has to be with Landon. Landon's literally telling her, you can go hang out wherever you want, you know, and I'm still here. And she still chooses to be with him.
Landon has never been a weight on her shoulder. He's never held her back. He's always supported her. He just wanted to be. So the other thing is that he wants to be someone that she can rely on, because she carries so much weight alone on her shoulders and no one fucking helps her. Like, I'm sorry, but
you've been saving the school and no one been helping. Like, and let alone that in season 1, the twins didn't really know because Alaric kind of cut it off until like around the Unicorn episode 11. You know, they heard from Hope. Other than that, you know, she couldn't have help. I mean, also they had to help the mummy, but most of the time they didn't know about the monsters because Alaric never told them. Well, so always Hope, and if Alaric can catch up, had to deal with them alone.
Yeah, look at the end of 315. The girls were literally like, oh, you don't have to do this alone. And then Hope takes off in 316 in the car, and the first instinct is, oh well, we're not going to go after her. We're not going to look for her. We're going to go home and find her a date. Or we're going to be so worried about a human coming into the school that we're just going to clean everything up. Like, where was the concern for Hope? Where was the, oh, she's off with Clark. Clark's a murderer. Clark's this. But you know what? Let's just go back to the school.
I would like to add on to that. The thing about with Hope and people not wanting to help her is because there was this tweet, or I think it was Leah that posted it or something. And they're talking about, it was like an edit of Hope where everybody's like expecting Hope to be this person that they rely on, that they need in their life. They need to have them to protect. She needs to protect everybody. They put so much pressure on her and her last name that they don't even think to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All they care about is whether or not she can protect them because she's a Michelson and she's this big tribrid, but nobody really thinks, is Hope okay?
And yet here's Landon.
It's more, where is Hope?
Yeah, and yet here's Landon with basically no superpowers, who is constantly trying to improve himself to help her, either by research or learning how to fight or anything, constantly trying to help her because he didn't want to see her. Like the whole thing with him wanting to learn to fight is so that they were both left standing at the end of the battle. Who else wanted Hope to, like, everyone else is all like, oh, you know what, Hope's a tribrid, it's fine, she'll come back. Whereas Landon seems to be the only one that actually values her quote unquote human life, even though I know she's not human, but you know what I mean, like her mortal life.
And Hope realizes that because she literally told him, like, I love you, that you're always trying to get better.
Mm-hmm. Because she can see it, because she can see.
Yeah.
That's why she called them Team Other, or that's why he called them Team Other in 111. Because like she's like, we're our own faction, because she saw that right from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning.
And then season 3, that scene, she's with Golem and saying like divide and conquer. So she trusts him to do a part while she does other. Yeah.
Yep. I know we kind of got off.
I mean, okay, it's the Handon weekly, okay? We're gonna talk about Handon.
Yeah, and Hope. But anyways, what's the next one?
Next question is from Love for Handon. It says, would love to hear how you think they'll get Malivore out of Landon's body. I mean, I guess it kind of ties into what we already kind of talked about. We kind of hope, you know, Hope will kind of get into Landon's mind and communicate with him then, because and also assuming that since Cleo wasn't there, she could probably do spells to like have some kind of connection going on. So I don't know what other possible way. Like, how do you think they'll try to get, like, Hope, from her perspective, how do you think that she'll try to get Malivore out of Landon?
This is where I think the what's that thing called? The trident is going to come into play. Because remember, they brought it up for a reason. They didn't bring it up just for like nothing. And I know Paige has always said that she thinks it's going to come back, because they brought it up in season 2 when Clark tried to take over Hope's body. And then they brought it up in season 3 when Lizzie wanted to use it on Roth using Landon's powers, like taking Landon's Phoenix powers. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they brought it up. I think that might be an option that they're going to use to transfer Malivore into Clark's body, because Clark is now human.
Yeah.
So,
and I think he's here for his
redemption.
For his arc, yeah. Redemption arc.
Do you think he's going to die after this?
I think I don't know if he's going to die, but I think that what better way to trap Malivore than to put him in a body that's human? And the other thing is, like, Malivore was obviously inspired by Cleo, but I also think that inspiration was Landon's inspiration too, which basically showed that Landon was still there, because Malivore wouldn't have the memories, like himself, of Hope and Landon and those kisses and stuff like that. That would have been would have been Landon's memories. So Landon obviously is still there. So it was a dual inspiration between the two of them, where it was Landon seeing Hope's love, and maybe that was inspiration for him to keep fighting, and then Malivore seeing him making Clark, which is an inspiration for him to say, you know what, maybe I chose the wrong kid. What if Clark is the one he's been searching for this whole time, because Landon isn't actually the perfect son, he's actually defective in some way.
Oh. Well, that's a plot twist. I was highly upset I was ruining Handon for the wrong person. He can catch his hands. The next question is from Michael. Do you think Landon will get his powers back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he'll get it at some point. I don't know. I'm hoping he get 8.
I think it's going to be the season finale. I've always thought he's going to get his powers back. I've never thought that
never thought it was over.
I always thought that he just reset his powers. I feel like the golden arrow just reset his powers like he was in 105.
Yeah. Maybe it's dormant until, like, he has to, like, maybe, I don't want him to die again to reactivate it, but I don't know any other way for him to reactivate it unless, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how he gets it back. This next question from Michael as well is, how will being possessed by Malivore affect Landon? I mean, I don't know, because I don't know. I feel like maybe we'll get some talk between Hope and Landon when he finally gets Malivore.
Not only he was traumatized by the fact that he had to beat up the necromancer. Then he went into the prison world and he was by himself for God knows how long. Then
Yeah.
probably thought that he was escaping, but then got overtaken by his father and then stuck in his own mind in endless darkness.
And watching the love of his
Without
life.
his necklace anymore.
Suffering. Yeah.
Because like in Malivore in the first part, he had her necklace, which means he literally had hope. And same in the prison world. When his father took his body over, he stole that hope from Landon. Because he stole that necklace. And so for Landon, probably, I mean, I think this is also comes into play where is his favorite scene where it's like, I'm always going to be the guy who fights to find you again. He's literally going to be fighting from the inside, and Hope's going to be fighting from the outside.
Aced.
We
But,
love
everything parallels everything if you think about it, because that interview that Brett had said is that the answer to the last 3 seasons is going to happen in 316 because of the way that it was written. And literally what was the biggest reveal in 316 besides the fact that Landon was Malivore is that Hope and Landon's love is the key to destroying him. It's literally the greatest destroyer. And
together.
that's been the heart of the last 3 seasons is Hope and Landon's love.
Yep. And then getting on the page to destroy Malivore.
Yeah, and I think he gave him a new interview that he said that how she would play out with the decision of destroying Malivore is how she would play out with the decision with being toxic to Landon, something like that.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
also
right?
did say that like
He say like love like this facts be damned, and I think that's exactly for Hope. Like I don't care the facts, I love you and I want to be with you. Period.
which she basically figured out at the end of 16 when
Exactly.
she was sitting in the hospital room with Clark, where she was just like, I was actually kind of thinking the opposite.
So she's gonna fight for Landon. Oh my
Well,
god.
now
Okay,
that she knows that Landon is stuck, there is no way she understands. She is the only person that truly understands what's happening, because like Landon is actually possessed. No one else other than Hope understands that. I'm sorry, but Dark Josie wasn't a possession. It was a manifestation of black magic of a part of her that was always there, just buried, not a possession. Landon is actually possessed by his father. Hope was actually possessed by the Hollow. It's 2 different entities. Dark Josie and Josie is one entity. Just saying.
Oh my god.
Keep going.
Next question.
Yeah.
From Danielle's Handon. When do you think Malivore possessed Landon? Was it in the prison world or after?
I think probably.
I think after.
I think 308. I
Yeah.
actually think that he possessed him as Landon was coming through the rift, because I think that he needed Landon to go through the rift because the rift was opened for Landon, right? It was opened with like his objects or whatever, or like him in mind or whatever. And so I think that because it was connected to him, Malivore had to wait for it to open and Landon to pass through. I think that he almost hitchhiked in Landon, because like there's certain points between 312 and 316 where it can't have just been Malivore. Like it had to also be Landon. And I feel like Malivore kind of like, I know Pia said like the Travelers in the Vampire Diaries. I feel like it wasn't necessarily Landon, but it was like Landon's almost like the channeling of Landon. You know what I mean? Because like, I didn't want to hurt you, or like when they were fighting in the woods, when she took his hand, stuff like that. There was just like certain moments where it was like, there is no way that can be Malivore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think Malivore completely took control. I don't think Malivore had complete control of his body until Cleo held his hands and inspired him. Like I think that he could control certain actions at certain times, but I don't think that he had full control.
I feel like once he had full complete faith that he could actually complete his goal and got the inspiration from Cleo, he was going to continue the facade of letting. I guess like I'm assuming he let Landon have certain moments, because there's no way that I'm going to sit here and believe that Malivore was out here working with Hope to fight his old vessel. That's what I don't think.
Yeah.
But I know people said that that's maybe what he wanted to do, which was destroy the artifact. But I just don't know.
I don't think that was purely Malivore. I think that Malivore was hitchhiking almost like a parasite, like I said before, in Landon until the moment that he needed to. It was like a switch, so he could flip back and forth between Hope and Landon. And I think the moment that Hope also said, like in the breakup scene, Hope said, I have to become a fully activated tribrid to kill Malivore, defeat Malivore. He flicked the switch, and that was when he was like, that was what we were seeing, is the switch being flicked, and then him going, okay, no, I'm the son of Malivore, and you're the loophole that defeats him. And that was that whole, like, that was why Landon was so cold in that sense. But in the woods, when they were fighting, or at the school, when he was talking about that monster and him hallucinating, I think that was actually Landon. Because, like, Hope took his hand, and he, like, even on the dock, he was smiling at her. And if you think about it, the reason why he probably didn't want to be close to anybody at the school is because when Hope was infected by the Hollow, what did she hear? Whispers.
Mm-hmm.
She could hear things in her head. She felt different. It was slowly taking possession of her, like you could see on the veins on her neck and stuff like that. And I feel like with Landon, he felt that. He felt different. That was why he felt different earlier on, is because he could literally feel Malivore's hold on him.
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel like it was like a switch. And I feel like when Cleo officially gave him the vision, he was on full go. Because even when she wasn't following him, he said, "You get the car," and it slipped. It fully slipped. So I personally, we'll talk about why we think, the next question is, where do you think the real Landon is? Well, in his body and mind.
It starts on his mind.
In his mind.
I almost think that the scene of Landon in the cage is a parallel to Landon actually locked up in his own mind.
Has to be. How they did that, and just like transitioning between that scene and when Cleo was in Malivore, I thought they were walking towards Landon in the cage, and I was like, "Oh."
I think sometimes people forget that this body is Landon, just his mind is not, because people be like, "Oh, Landon is here, Landon is there," but like, no, Landon is in the cage. It is his body right there. Just his mind is out.
I feel like we can see a parallel with that. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember the originals that much, but kind of like when everyone, like the door thing, like when Elijah was getting his memories back.
Yeah.
Kind of see that happening with Landon when he has to come out.
Oh, that would be awesome.
He has to like use the right door.
When Elijah was stuck in the necklace, and Haley and Hope had to go in because the necklace was fractured and had to go, there was that hallway of doors. And which is really funny because I'm pretty sure I wrote a hallway of doors in one of my Handon stories, but anyways, there's a hallway of doors, and I could see, like, that is a really cool way of showing, like, in the mind. And could you imagine if Hope goes in his mind and sees these hallway of doors and goes through some of these doors, and it's like moments of them, moments of them, their first meeting, or just
to be able to handle this.
What gets him through the pain.
Or her seeing memories of him as a kid, like in the foster home or whatever, like
the cigarette.
Seeing the trauma.
Immaculate. Don't give me hype for disappointment, please.
I know. Okay, I'm sorry, but the serve that would be, like, my fucking God.
We have to see something of Landon, well, maybe it won't be like as much because Cleo's there, but there has to be something that we're going to see from Landon in his mind. Like, I don't think they'll just be having him in blackness like how how Hope and Clark was in season 2. I'm hoping that they spice it up. And since Brett has been doing an immaculate job with this season, I'm assuming the best from Landon's perspective, because we're going to get Hope in game trying to fight her, get her man. She's at this point where she don't care what nobody says. Like she said, she's not going to risk her happiness for anybody else no more, because look what it got her. A Malivore.
You know what I'm wondering though, is if he ate Cleo, and Cleo's literally in like the dimension of like Malivore dimension where all the monsters go, that can't also be the same place that Landon is though, because if Malivore is in Landon's body, then is Landon's subconscious in the almost like the parallel universe or whatever, because he doesn't actually have a body.
Is it kind of like how Malivore, like how originally Malivore was, where it's I guess several sections? Because when Hope and Clark were there, they rarely saw them. You would think that all the monsters he consumed, it would have been a lot.
When he melted, he had his body, but Clark didn't have his body when he was thrown into the pit by the necromancer when his head was chopped off, because he was literally in Simulandon's body. So did a body reform when he went back into Malivore because he was made of mud? But if Landon's not made of mud, does he have a body? Or is he literally, like, is Cleo going to find Landon, or is she stuck in there? Like, I'm just kind of wondering how that works, because Malivore obviously opened the door for Landon to go find the necromancer. So then I'm wondering can Malivore open a door in the portal of himself into Landon's mind, and that's the light that Cleo was seeing?
Let's say that for the Malivore episode then.
Yeah.
That could also bring back the whole door thing. Is like if we do see that within Landon's mind or whatever, if Hope does like a head dive or something into Landon, like kind of like with the necromancer going into the subconscious, and we see that, what if like the only way to get Landon back was for her to choose the right door? Like she has these several doors or whatever, and Landon's like hiding or whatever in one of them, in a space in the memory that makes him feel safe, and the memory might be of them two.
She has to figure out which one is
that.
Yeah. But I think that I don't know if this should be, we can kind of discuss this in the Malivore episode, but at the end of the episode he was like, there's something that I want too. I'm wondering if he asks her to strike a deal. So like, because how else is she going to get close enough to him to go into his head? She's going to have to knock him out, but can she knock him out? Well, obviously she can, because he got knocked out by... That's the other thing. He got knocked out by trank guns, which means obviously Landon's body is still human.
Yeah.
And not made of mud, because if he was mud, those trank darts would not have worked. Yet, he could still open his mouth into a portal and stuff in. So, like, why did those trank darts work?
I think that's the point of Landon being the perfect vessel, because he's human. So Malivore is literally possessed of his body. So that's the whole thing. Like, Landon is human. He have human DNA, so he can procreate.
Right, but Malivore had to have changed his DNA in some sense when he, like, possessed him, because a human can't open their jaw like that.
But I don't think he... I think he put only his mind on Landon, like the same way, like not his body. But yeah, it's weird, and I understand what you're talking
maybe
about.
he was caught off guard, or maybe he was caught off guard when it came to that, because like he does a switch between him and real Landon. So maybe when he consumed, that was his Malivore self being at his full peak, and then he's about to get into his full Landon facade, and he got caught off guard and couldn't figure out.
He did the same thing when in 304, when Landon let him be the vessel in the first place, and he was going to consume Ted before the dragon came.
He got burnt, so he wasn't in.
But his mouth opened up in that way. So when Malivore takes over, he has to somehow be able to, like, shift Landon's DNA in a sense that makes him malleable enough to be able to like open up his jaw like that, like, you know.
Yeah, because that that jaw, no ma'am. The next question is from Mystic Varchi. It says, how do you think Cleo will play a role in Landon's freeing, and where do you think Mala and Malivore's control of Landon will play a role in the show in the future? So, I mean, the first part of the question is, how do you think Cleo will play a role in, you know, freeing Landon?
So I think that with Cleo, I know that Brett said that we originally assumed that Cleo and Landon team up in 313 was what Brett was talking about, but I'm wondering if what he actually was talking about was a Cleo and Landon team up afterwards. And if Cleo was able to, she brought up the whole you're not the Landon Kirby that I saw in Hope's heart, and she has all these memories of Hope grieving Landon and trying to get him back. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the catalyst to him going, okay, I can't stop fighting because Hope has never stopped fighting for me. Because she's going to show him exactly how Hope kept fighting for him.
Yeah, and then also, I'm like, I mean, I added this question for the Malivore episode, but we can kind of mention it since we're on Cleo. So before she got consumed, you know how she mentioned she had a vial of Hope's blood? So my concern is, do she still have it, or when before she got consumed, or because she pulled it out? But I don't think Landon had enough time to pick it up before he got tranquilized. So if she got consumed by Malivore, she still has Hope's blood with her, and that could probably be.
I think she left in the room.
Yeah, because we didn't see it, so I was wondering, do she still have it? And if she did, then that could have been a part of the like what she can do in the mind. But I don't know, because they didn't mention it once again when she got consumed. But I mean, obviously she's gonna be helping Landon, but we'll see. And then the next part is, where do you think Malivore's control of Landon will play in the role? I mean, in the show in the future, like the role of that. I don't know. If once they overcome Landon, maybe this will lead to the show being darker as they said it would. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I'm wondering if, because they actually did Landon a little bit earlier than I thought they would. Because if Malivore is supposed to be like the big bad, you would assume that they would have saved this whole possession thing, and just because, like, unless what they do is what I said, is put Malivore in Clark's body, and then Clark becomes the villain for the next season. But which would make more sense, because then he's a human villain and a little bit easier to fight. But then Clark also has contacts and, you know, knows people and stuff like that. But them using Malivore right now makes me wonder if they're planning on moving past Malivore for season 4.
You have to, because like I don't know if they're going to do Tribord Hope, because like, you know how she was expressing it, but
they're definitely doing Tribord Hope. Yeah,
darker. They cannot keep having this fucking Mudman in the way, and these monsters in the way, unless they're going to spice it up. I don't know what possibly how it can get any darker if we're still fighting Malivore. So and it kind of sucks, because if Clark had a whole speech about him wanting to be brothers with Landon, and then now he's basically now a villain with not what he really wanted to be, that would truly suck.
But if Malivore takes over Clark's body, then it wouldn't be Clark anymore.
Yeah, like we'll be robbed out of a brother duel. I'm just hoping that they stay away from that. I'm just hoping that once they figure out how to get Malivore out of Landon, they can figure out how to officially destroy him, and then he's out. We cannot have 4 seasons dedicated to this man.
I mean, like, the monster of the week thing, I think, is still going to be a constant. Like, probably even, I mean, they did it really well in season 3, where it wasn't like overpowered, and most of the monsters made sense within the story, especially with Cleo's role in it, like with the leprechaun and stuff like that, because we found out that she was the one that actually had conjured that monster. So it kind of made sense in that aspect. But so I'm hoping in season 4, if they do continue with the monster thing, that it's not just like random monsters. Because season 2 was very like random monsters.
Like season 3 and season 1 did an amazing job. Like that's the only time I would not really complain, because especially with season 3, a lot of characters had their own storylines and own development. and it wasn't influenced by the monsters. Season 2, the monsters were literally the damn highlight of every development there was. Like we had the one that was a lot. I'm not going to really get into names, but there were certain ones that had things come out that need to be said, or
Croatoan.
Yeah, like the Croatoan, like for them to finally reveal that that Hope is who she is, we had to get a monster that couldn't handle secrets. Really. Like a lot of them, the Cupid one for Hope and Landon to finally understand love. They didn't know they love each other. Why the fuck do we need Cupid for that? Like there's so many monsters that did not need to be there. A wolf one, so Ralph can become human again because he's a wolf. Like no, there was too many monsters that was like it needed for the plot to thrive, and that was what killed me in season 2. But in season 3, they did an amazing job with that. But I just really want to see. Come on, y'all, get Klaus enemies. You know he had a lot of them. If y'all bring them to the stage, and leave these Ghostbuster monsters alone, so I can be at peace, I'll be fine.
But I kind of wonder if like Tribrid Hope next season, she'll kind of be she will and she won't be an enemy. Like I'm wondering if something's going to happen at the end of season 3. That's going to make her Tribrid, but also make her the villain.
And also can make her a bigger threat. Because now she's activated, which means
she's constantly saving people. And I can see them sacrificing Landon or sacrificing her to save everyone else.
You know how fucking mad I'll be. I would be throwing fire on tweets, literally.
They obviously didn't care that Landon was dead or that he was possessed or that he left the school or anything like that. So, I mean, it makes sense for them to just be like, oh, you want Landon? Okay, here you go.
Yeah, and what kills me more is the whole, like MG said, told Caleb, don't give up on Landon. And then Landon came back and left, and no one mentioned anything. But then they went to go find Cleo, who stabbed their friend in the stomach.
Yeah.
Horrific. Don't give up on Landon. He left. I don't care. Also, the girl who stabbed my friend. Oh, I'm into her though.
Is not one like Hope is literally the only one that actually cared about Landon, and then everyone was using that like they didn't even care about Hope's grief or upset. Like they were like Josie was like, oh, let's go take you to a cult or let's go take you to a camp because you're feeling kind of sad, rather than, you know what, I'm here for you. If you need someone to talk to, I'll be your friend. And then they get to the cult, and then it's just like, oh no, we need to stay. Like, it's just so frustrating because like no one actually cared about Hope's feelings, and then no one actually cared about the fact that Landon they were all just like, oh well, he's a dick.
And then when it came to the newspaper scene, they were just like, oh, let's forget about Landon's picture. Cleo picture, though.
Why is she with Landon? Are you not concerned at all about Landon?
Landon not with her. Like you already,
Why are you so concerned about Landon? Landon cares literally about every fucking person in that school. He's proved it time and time again, and yet not one person but Hope cares about him. Not one person was like, you know what? We need, even at the beginning of the season, no one went to go see if Hope was okay. They knew Landon's predicament. Not one person was like crying or mourning or anything like that.
Got stabbed?
Everyone was going on about their day. Rolf was the only one that actually cared. Everyone was going on about their day. Like, Landon is honestly too damn good for the school.
And fuck a lyric too, mister. Let's make a little trip, and so we can not have people worry about Landon and Hope. So we're both dead or asleep, by the way.
I saw this Tumblr post about Landon and about how the representation that he brings to a lot of people, not only because he is a person of color, like because of his heritage, but also because he is a foster child. He's not this, he was abused, and yet he still has all of the faith in people. Like, despite being abused, and unloved, he still only showed love. He could have gone the other way. He could have been a complete ass. He could have withdrawn into himself, but yet he was always optimistic and always willing to lend a hand and always like doing the right thing, doing the better thing, and then also falling in love with this girl and supporting her and her friend, and like just wanting to feel like he, like, how many of us in our lives have wanted to feel like we belonged somewhere, have dealt with shit in our family life, have dealt with bullying, have dealt with abuse, have dealt with all the shit that Landon has put up with, have felt unloved or unwanted? How many people can relate to that? Because you know what? A hell of a lot more people can relate to Landon than they can relate to Hope or Josie or Lizzie. Because the twins and Hope grew up privileged. I know that they had family issues. I understand that, but they grew up privileged. Okay, they had a school, they had a roof, they had family, they had people that loved them. Landon never had a secure home. He never had a family that loved him. The only person that he ever connected to before Hope was Rolf. And how long in his life did he go through with no connection, no personal connections until Rolf came into his life? 16 years? 16 years of being abused and unloved and unwanted and moved from home to home because he was a foster child?
And him thinking that he can get away from that abuse by going to school, not, but then encountering bullying there as well, which meant that he had no place of actual peace. And him having a place, him realizing that this school could possibly be it, and nobody in that bitch cares.
No, Hope is literally the only one, I mean, besides Rolf, but Hope is literally the only one that has loved him for who he is, heart and soul. The only one. And embraced him for the wonderful, beautiful, you know, nerdy, you know, just person that he is, when no one else had accepted him, not one person. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have people, like, it's just, he is such a relatable character, and the hate that he gets is simply because he is not this, you know, toxic man who takes what he wants when he wants. He is literally like this.
Yeah, like when it comes to Handon, I compared him to Everlark. I mean, I know people ship them way more than when I used to be in the fandom, but a lot of people used to be like, they didn't like how Peter was.
Because
you know, like, but, yeah, like he was soft. He wasn't like, oh, he wasn't like, it was a role reverse. And that's why I used to see Everlark and Handon, because once again, it was the woman who was basically kind of the paints and relationship, you know, and some people don't like that. And like them, and then that comes to the hand of, oh, well, Hope was always saving Landon, and Hope is his babysitter. And it's like, why do y'all need, so when y'all want new tropes, but then you get new tropes, you bitch with about the old tropes.
It's just, Landon is the most relatable character in the show and gives a representation to people who don't, how many foster children main leads do you see in a show besides a show about foster children? He is a main lead, a foster child, an abused foster child, a nerdy, you know, soft boy who is the lead, who is in love and who is loved by this strong hero female simply because of who he is. The representation that he gives to so many people is so important. And people use ships to get in the way of what he should be representing, because they don't want to see just how amazing a character he is, because all they want is what they want without caring about anyone else. I'm sorry, I went off on a rant, but like...
But you're right. Yeah, you're right.
The next question is from Handon's Legacy 5. What possible inspiration did Cleo give Landon in episode 16? It's another part, but we can talk about this part first. I think Robyn already talked about it, you know, giving Landon the inspiration to continue to fight, clearly. But also, you know, we saw in Milo Landon that he got inspiration, you know, for the superior species he wants. But also we got the, you know, greater destroyer of all his love, which is Handon. to keep it cute and simple. And the next part is what Landon has probably gone through since being possessed by Malivores. Well, I mean, I don't think that's a question, but I guess it ties into what Landon experienced. But yeah, we kind of answered that question. The next thought is
that's what he's gone through.
yeah. I feel like some of the questions we probably definitely discuss. Your thoughts about what's going on in Landon's mind? Well, I'll talk about that too. I feel like the inspiration definitely is going to help Landon continue to fight on. And since Cleo was now with him, he can have another person to help claim his body back. Because
I feel like him. Okay, so this is going to be like a weird parallel, but him being locked in a closet and being afraid of small spaces because of the trauma that he went through as a child, honestly, I think is going to help him in this situation because he had experience being in the dark and being in an enclosed space and being alone for so long because of the trauma that he went through, that I think to him it's like he's just locked into another closet.
Yeah.
So like when he was a child, he didn't have hope, literally. But now he's locked in a closet and he has hope.
And he has a friend with him.
Yeah. And so I think that even though he's trapped in this quote unquote closet, he's in a sense surviving because the light in him is hope.
Aside. Oh, okay.
He didn't have hope, and then he ended up falling in love with the girl named Hope.
Yeah.
The next part, our next question is, what do you guys think will be Malivore's plan now that he's possessed Malivore? I mean, he possessed Landon Malivore. I mean,
Clark
got caught. No word.
I don't even know. Listen, Malivore got Landon, and now he's on to another plot of.
Well,
you know,
Cleo had finally, because if we hadn't seen that scene of Cleo giving Malivore a voice, we would just assume that he had possessed Landon to go and impregnate a bunch of people. But now that we know that Malivore wants to create a better species than the three that imprisoned him, it makes more sense. So his vision, including hope, and creating a child also makes sense, because think about it, if he has her hair and he has Landon's DNA obviously, and if he took that blood, he has all the factors that he can make his own super species, because we know he can make children. He made Clark, he made Landon. So what's stopping him now that also that he knows how, obviously, like how to make Ted human and Clark is now human, what's stopping him from taking Hope's hair and DNA and creating a super child in a sense, or a super body in a sense?
Malivore needs to hang it up, flat screen. Tired of this man.
Something that's not toxic, because Landon, to him, he thinks that Hope is still toxic, even though none of us think that she is. But Malivore thinks that Hope is toxic to him, which she is. She's toxic to Malivore. So
yeah, and also Landon still does have a weakness, which was that arrow. He wants the species to have no weakness.
Right. So he obviously can't use Landon as a long-term vessel, because Landon and Clark, we're assuming, still have the weakness against Hope. So the only way to prevent that weakness is to use Hope's DNA to create a subspecies that is part of her.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. This is about how did Landon survive the prison world for unknown days and did become a hunter, but in some way has fallen into Malivore's hands, and in the end, all the ways of trying to get out of the prison world, but ultimately failing. Safe to assume the writing in the graveyard was his or Ted's or both. I guess like how he survived the prison world. Yeah, like I mean, I feel like in the prison world he did learn how to fight some way. I don't think that Malivore just pulled this fighting out of his head. I do feel like Landon learned how to fight while in the prison world, because once again, the prison world is longer than how it is on the current time. So like it may have been like 3 weeks of Landon being gone to Hope, but it could have been months to him.
And really, what choice did Landon have? Is either die or fight. he already said he was going to find a way back to Hope.
Yeah, and since he already went sicko mode on the Necromancer, I can only assume that he was still going to do whatever it takes, which is fighting out there. Like, I don't think it was just Malivore having these special abilities to fight. I do think that it was Landon as well, and Landon learned how to fight while he was in the prison world. Because if they're making Landon and Hope be on the same page, and like Landon's going to be stronger, he's obviously learning how to do some combat and stuff like that while in there. Because I don't know, Malivore don't know the damn spells, how he knocked Cleo out. He don't know that.
My question is, in 304, Landon gave Malivore access to his body.
Yeah.
And if you know the rules of possession, normally, and I know not in the Vampire Diaries universe, but normally with possession, but if you think about the conversation in 302, where the necromancer said, I can't just force a soul into a body, the host has to be willing. And I don't think that that was random wording. I think that that was actually meant to foreshadow Landon giving Malivore his body in 304, which makes me wonder, did Landon strike a deal in the prison world with his dad and let his dad take his body?
I mean, for me, my main assumption was that since Landon decided to do that deal with Malivore in episode 4, that Malivore just thought it was an ongoing thing. I don't think Malivore said, okay, well, I'm done.
We know that nothing is said without reason. Nothing is brought up without reason. So the fact that they brought up the thing of the necromancer saying, I can't put a soul into a body without the host being willing, and then Landon being willing to take on Malivore, and then we see the necromancer's body there, and then we see all the spells and stuff like that. It just makes me wonder, is if he figured, and that was how Malivore also took the necklace, is if he figured out a way to cut a deal with his dad in order to escape the prison world.
I mean, that could make sense. Like him, like realizing that he's going to have to continue to keep fighting every day, and if he can have a way to get out without having to fight every day, then he's going to take that chance.
Yeah.
But I feel like at some point he was in there for so long that he became desperate to find a way to get out. And that rift, like seeing the rift and stuff like that happen, he probably was like, listen, let's just get out of here. I can get you out of here if you help me get back to Hope.
I'm wondering what if Landon thought that because the dragon killed Landon in the prison world and Landon resurrected, which again, I think is foreshadowing. But anyways, what if Landon thinks that if he dies in the real world, like Malivore is killed in the real world, if that'll disconnect them, and that was what he was assuming would happen somehow. Like he's kind of waiting on Hope to figure out that it's Malivore, and then her having to kill him, and then that's how they like disconnect or whatever, and how he gets himself back. And then on the flip side, it being Hope can't kill him because she's worried about losing Landon completely because he's human, and she doesn't realize that it's possible that he's going to resurrect.
I don't know. Like I just feel like I don't know. I just don't know what could. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that may make more sense than like Malivore. But once again, it also can be the consideration of maybe Malivore thought that Landon was going to continue that deal of being his vessel.
Yeah. I mean, like, Landon is so smart. So I'm sure that he probably figured out something.
Yeah, I need to fully see like what happens before the possession like took place, or if he thought about this concept, because if Malivore was around Landon and Malivore didn't try to get into him, so I'm trying to figure out.
It has to be important because we literally had a whole episode in season 2 of the Saltzmans being trapped in a prison world, and then we got we only got one clip in numerous episodes of Landon in the prison world.
Yeah, like I just need to know, or I just need to see like what went through the interaction between Malivore and Landon in order for Malivore to take full possession of Landon.
Yeah.
So Okay, let me go to the next question. This is from Felix. It says, obviously Landon will be traumatized by his experience. How do you think, or how do you want him to react to this? But I mean, I kind of want him to kind of act like not really how he acted with when Milo landed in episode was it 12? But well, yeah, 12, right?
Yeah.
13. 13, yeah, 12, 13. I want him to act that way, kind of, but I don't want him to be distant of how like Milo Landon was. I want him to actually talk to Hope. So like when he
Yeah.
was about like when he was at the school and he was telling Hope how he was, like like reliving like him getting saved. I want those interactions and Hope being there, but I do not want him to push her away. Like I still want him to. He's going to obviously be traumatized, and because literally he was stuck in his body against his will. But I want them to fully cover the trauma. I don't want no coding. I don't want no, oh, well, their love is what saved the trauma. I do want trauma, especially how Landon was acting in season 1. In the first few episodes, they talked about his trauma. I want them to be brought up as well, because technically he was caged in his own body and in his mind. And, knowing Hope, how she was already, trying to build on that pace of like waiting till he's ready. Obviously, we're going to be seeing that. And I want them to talk about I want some flashbacks. We might not be getting that, but when he talks about it, I want flashbacks, like of how he survived, or how it happened, or what happened while he melted, or like how he interacted when watching through his eyes, Malivore breaking up with Hope. Like I need to see all that shit. I need to see it all.
I think that they will talk though, because I think that was what the whole scene on the dock was about, where she was just like, help a girl out here. And I think that they wanted to show a good, like the reason why they brought Golem Landon and then Malo Landon, and then it'll be the real Landon, is because they wanted to show the difference. So Golem Landon was literally like the pure version of Landon, where the happy pure version of Landon without like the trauma kind of, and then Malo Landon is like Landon with PTSD, but then colder. So they showed that like shift between the two of them. And then they had that dock scene where Hope was like, help a girl out. And then I think when they get the real Landon back, it'll actually be him opening up to her and because like, even if you think about like the scenes when he got out of Malivore and she was like, never leave this bed ever, that could parallel when he actually gets out of Malivore and they have a scene like that, in a sense, where he's actually talking to her about what happened. Because like, she's been through it. She understands, first off, she understands what it's like being possessed, and second, she understands what it's like being in Malivore. So if he's going to talk to anyone, it's going to be her.
Yeah, and also like once again, he didn't seem to have a problem. Like I don't think he will have a problem communicating with her about his trauma, because how easily he was opening up to her in season 1.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a problem with him communicating with Hope. I guess that's why they were showing, like, paralleling it to, how Malivore Landon tried to push her off and not talk about his trauma until she kind of forced him to do it. I think he's going to just do it, like.
Even when he was upset in 302 and 303, he still went to her.
Exactly. Like, I personally feel like he's like, cause maybe Hope will kind of back up because she experienced Mala Landon doing it. And, she's like, well, maybe I'll just wait for him to say anything. But knowing Landon, I think he's definitely going to communicate with her and talk about his experience there, because there's no way we're not going to get anybody talking about that. So we'll see how that goes. The next question is from Mark. He said, could you discuss maybe how Landon is trapped with Malivore possessing him? Like, is he trapped in Malivore, or is he trapped in his own mind? I mean,
we kind of touched on that already.
Yeah.
So hopefully you got the answer within the previous questions. The next question is from Millie the Explorer. When do you think Malivore took control of Landon? We said 308. Me and Robyn said 308. I think everybody else agrees it's 308.
Yeah.
How much control do you think Landon had, if he had any? I think he had some control, because there were certain scenes of Landon that slipped out. Like him smiling at Hope when they were talking, when he was helping Hope fight. I just feel like the full switch came when Hope was talking to him after, when he was cleaning his wounds, and she mentioned she had to become a triber. I feel like once he made that, like, it was something in the way he was, like, how he reacted. And he went to like breakup mode.
You notice that there was very little physical contact between them, between
Yeah.
Yeah.
312 and 316. Literally, it was just Hope grabbing his hand in 313 and then her holding the bandage or grabbing his arm. And like, it was literally like there was almost no physical contact between them. Like there was that rift between them that was so obvious.
Yeah, it was
Landon,
because like I expected them to have. I expect like so many interactions, like the necklace interaction, and I was like, why did we not get a necklace scene, or how cold he was acting when she was touching like his tools. Yeah, I was like, there's something going on, but like the way he reacted was totally not Landon like.
like even when he pulled the mask off, there wasn't a hug. Like every reunion they've had, they've either kissed or they've hugged. And that reunion, there was nothing. Or they've cuddled in bed. Think about like in 215 when he came down with the wings and they had that staring, reunion, and then they were cuddling in bed afterwards. It's the same pattern, and yet this one, they went to bed separately. They didn't touch, they didn't hug, nothing. Like it was just
Yeah, and he left, and woke up the next morning and completely just left.
yeah.
And that was totally they played themselves with that. The next question, hold on, is from Robyn, not our Robyn. How do y'all think being possessed by Malivore would change him and his dynamic with other characters?
I want him to be a little bit more snappy.
Yeah, I want him to be more snappy, more like snarky, like having like once again I want a Landon and Lizzie friendship, and seeing them banter against each other like how episode 6 of season 2 was. I deserve it. I love their interactions, and seeing them interact more since Hope had become closer to the twins this season. I want them to have interactions. So like when people come for Landon
and kind of stand up for himself more.
Yeah. And like since he now can kick ass when he talk his shit to the monsters, because normally he might be on the sidelines. We need him to talk his smack with the monsters as he should. Kind of like how he was when he said, like bullies, let's talk and something like that.
Yeah.
Is what we deserve. The next question is from Robyn as well. Do you think Cleo will run into Landon's subconscious?
I don't know. I'm a little bit. I wonder a little bit about that because, like, Cleo is in Malivore, but Landon is still in his body, but in his mind, I don't think he's actually in Malivore.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually in Malivore. Like, I think he's just like his body is. I don't know. Like, we'll see. The next question is from Iva. Is how do you think Malivore is keeping Landon subdued? Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I think he's letting Landon, interact most of the time until he needs Landon to not be working. I don't know. I feel like he does a switch. Because, like, if you really watch Landon's behavior when he came back, there were certain things that screamed Landon, and there's certain things that was like, yeah, that's not Landon.
We go back to the parallel of the cage with the shackles. That's going to be Landon.
Yeah.
In my mind, with the cage and the shackles, in a sense, or locked in a closet, because that's what he, where he was put when he was younger.
Yeah. The next part is, do you think it's going to be similar to Dean and Michael from Supernatural, or more of a suffering, painful side? So I wouldn't know. I didn't watch Supernatural.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be a painful side. I mean, I'm more like a traumatic side for Landon.
Yeah, like emotional pain.
I just like he's just in a cage, not being able to escape. The next question is, how do you think they'll get out of Malivore out of Landon? We kind of already talked about that. The next question is from Epic Love _Handon. Do you think Landon actually has skills of fighting, and isn't because of Malivore that he can fight? I kind of mentioned it. I think Landon learned how to fight in Malivore because once again he was in there for a long time. So I think he has his own fighting ability. I
don't think that Malivore can make up new power. So if Landon has the ability, then Malivore uses it.
Yeah. I don't think Malivore just makes up abilities on the go. The next question is from Bella. What do you think Landon will do when he's with Hope? I guess when he comes back, you mean? Everything.
Epic fucking reunion.
It's like the beginning of, I think it was the beginning of 308, I want to say, where she she has like that dream and he like holds on to her like
Yeah.
bug.
Oh my god.
See that, like, and he's like, because he's like he maybe like at that point he's like he can't
We need a hug.
reality from fantasy, so he's like making sure that she's actually real.
Yeah, I need a hug that's so. I mean, well, I would say kiss, but like, I need the hug so tight that nothing can slide between it. Because once again, they haven't been with each other in months, and well, months to him, but like a month to Hope wise. They've been away from each other for a while, and Hope once again is seeing two type Landons, one being Malo Landon, one being Golem Landon, and then you have
And
Landon
was dead at first too.
exactly, and Landon basically watching through his eyes, Hope being broken up with by his fucking father, and him not being able to actually talk to her, communicate with her. I'm expecting to be crying, okay? Tears. Like the reunion is going to kill me, and I'm ready for it.
We're
So
gonna get the kiss. We're gonna get the reunion.
and also like just besides the reunion alone, when he comes back, I do see them working as a team because once again, Hope when the Golem Landon standard power couple stuff and screw Fate, that's how Hope sees Landon, and she knows for Landon will say, "Let's work together. We're a team other whatever." And I know for a fact they're going to be working as a team now. So Hope is not always going to
And they give them a power stance, regardless if it's Malo Landon or not. They still have a power stance.
That stance, our soul. Next question is from Kiko. It says, "What exactly is Landon now? Because he definitely isn't human. The show keep insisting that he isn't a phoenix, and human, but human beings don't melt into mud when he died. Are they not and are not able to open their mouths super wide to consume others or have super strength? So what is he now?"
I still think he's a phoenix.
Yeah, I think he's still a phoenix. He's just still dormant. But once again, I mean, kind of touched his mouth opened up wide. But also when he melted into mud, he still was technically just vessels with Malivore. Like literally was still Malivore maybe less than like 20 minutes ago. We don't know how long it takes for the mud to leave his system for him to become back to his human form. We don't know. So when he became a vessel, you know how much mud Malivore got? Probably flood him all up. So, but keep in mind, y'all, that that's actually Landon. That was not Malivore in episode 4 because Malivore was chasing the necromancer. Because some of y'all hands.
We need to reiterate this fact. Hope slept with Landon, not Malivore. Landon.
Get a damn milkshake.
And if you think otherwise,
then you need to rewatch the episode.
Why?
Because y'all
don't to come to terms with the fact that Hope had sex with Landon.
It is a very serious topic when y'all mention SA. That's very sensitive. I'm gonna need y'all to fucking stop that. Yeah. If y'all don't know, how do y'all not see Malivore chasing after the chair and then assume that Malivore gonna go through his own body? Well, Clark's a little puddle. Y'all need to watch the show. And some of y'all don't watch the show. No shade, but the polls I saw yesterday, them answers, disgusting. Y'all know him.
I got them all right, Naj. I got them all right.
I see the real Handons. Some of y'all were just not caring, okay? So don't play yourself. Next question is Cold Heroes _Handon. What episode of season 4 do you think Landon will come back? It better be the 4th episode. I think, like actual 4 episode wise, he better be there.
Well, because Brett did say
finale.
Brett did say that they wrote the season in blocks of 4. And did you notice that every block of 4, it's always a Handon
you? Something delicious?
It's always a Handon
yeah.
What is why can't I think of the word now?
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Thank you, Vit. That's what I was thinking. It's always a Handon cliffhanger. Holy fuck. Why did I forget that word? I'm a writer and I forgot a word.
I was going to say parallel?
No, cliffhanger. So 304 had a Handon cliffhanger. 308 had a Handon cliffhanger. 312 had a Handon cliffhanger. And then 316 had a Handon cliffhanger. So 404 is now going to have a Handon cliffhanger.
I think 320 or whatever, 304 is going to be the episode that Landon comes back.
Yeah, same.
Definitely.
Because they're going to milk it
So
as
that
much as
he's
they
gonna
can.
get little moments of him getting control.
We're going to get Hope dying and Landon crying and healing her with his tears, like Vit said before.
Exactly.
But
And
it'll
then
be
she's
too
not gonna
late.
turn into a
She'll turn
tribal.
into
It's too late. You're wild.
the Tribert anyways.
I mean, that would be a good reason of like how, because Landon would not let that happen to Hope. So that could be a good alternative of her actually becoming a Tribert, full Tribert and activating her
We'll get
vampire
that
side.
parallel to 113. No. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Don't. Okay.
Instead of Hope going Landon, it's Hope going, or it's Landon going Hope. Never mind.
yeah. Getting ready to edit.
Get
Land the screen.
out of here. Get out of here. The next set of questions is from Leia. Handon's muffin, on Twitter. Is it possible that the light Cleo went inside will be a way into Landon's subconscious now that Landon's body is human? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's subconscious.
I did kind of say, like, maybe it would be a door into Landon's
you said
subconscious.
Yeah, it could be a door.
Because, like, Malivore was able to open a door into that ice cream shop.
He was. Maybe he was just too hungry. Let me stop. Next part.
Oh, if you think about it, that ice cream shop was literally a cage and shackles. And Landon was in a cage and shackles, and Landon will be in a cage and shackles.
The way Robyn was getting excited saying that.
I'm just trying my pain.
Parallels.
No, really though. Like the parallel edits that we're going to get when we get them back is going to be insanity.
Immaculate.
I can't wait for the collapse. So, the next part to our question is: can Malivore take back his Phoenix powers, or he would switch vessels? I don't think Malivore can access the Phoenix. Because if so, like Landon would have kind of already had it. But maybe, I don't know.
A siphoner, so he can't just like take the powers. So I think once he's out of Landon's body, is whatever powers are in Landon's bodies are Landon's powers.
Yeah. So I think, he just chilling out human wise right now. The next question is from Morgan. It says, do you think Landon would consider becoming a vampire to stay with Hope if she becomes a tribrid? I mean, if you're all indicating that he doesn't become, like, if he thinks he's just human permanently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would he become a vampire though?
I think he would, but I don't think Hope would let him just for her.
No.
Yeah, I don't
think he would. I don't think after everything that happened with MG, I don't think he would.
Yeah, I don't think.
Because there's a chance. You never know who's going to become a Ripper.
Yeah.
And Landon going through the experience of being killed by one, I don't think he would. And he loves Hope. Don't get me wrong on that, but I don't think he would necessarily just say, "Oh yeah." You would have to think about it. But I don't think he would say automatically, "Yeah, I want to be a vampire so I could be with you forever," or whatever.
Unless it was the only way to save Hope, and then I think that he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
Still doing things for his girl.
I don't think that he would become a vampire.
I don't think he would unless there's no chance. Like if there's no like other option. Like if he's like dead, he's not activating his Phoenix. Yeah. Because Hope is not she's not gonna lose him. The next question is from Legacies fan 2021. If Malivore is a monster taking machine, why doesn't Landon have those monster powers? I guess like saying that since Malivore has all those monsters in him, how doesn't Landon have any of the other monsters' powers? I don't know. It basically goes down to biology. I don't know. However he did it.
We don't actually know what Landon's powers are.
Yeah, we don't even really know. Like we assume based off of like other Phoenix powers on other shows. But the only thing we really know is that he obviously can fly, and obviously we think his emotions are. I mean, we think his abilities come from his emotions being hyped, emphasized. But I feel like strength might be one because they kept foreshadowing it in season 2. But we really don't know his full abilities.
Yeah.
And
Malivore just like mad scientist like his mom, and it's just like boom, here it's his DNA have this baby.
He was out here doing a lot of Punnett squares with genetics, and in his bag. So like we for anything, we definitely could kind of touch that
Almost
out.
like a Scrabble bag, he just like put
Like,
all the letters in, shake it up, and then whatever comes out comes out.
it was literally like Jesus. He was like, what is on my agenda today? Phoenix, okay. Or maybe
You know those like TikTok videos where it's like a little dash of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and you mix it all around, and then
stop.
that's Malivore with Landon.
Stop.
If anyone can make a TikTok video of that, please do.
Literally.
It's like my TikTok video I made of where it was like the different Landons. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Damn.
Careful. But I also think it could possibly be that he was kind of going through them because Clark said that Malivore made several kits, several prototypes, several examples, and some of them failed, which means that he probably just went down the list of mixing, or merging certain species, and that when he realized that they had more weaknesses, more than the other, that would make him just like completely scrap the idea.
I mean, we'll bring this up in the Malivore episode, but just the image or like the idea of Malivore somehow impregnating Sayla and then like mixing, like, did he have needles? Did he have like a whole science? It's like kit. Did he like conjure up a hospital? Like,
It's like
were there doctors
in a-
in Malivore? Like,
I don't know.
how did he know? Like, I don't know. It's just,
It's biology, Malivore biology.
yeah.
This question is from Sarah. It says, was Landon the one who hunted monsters and was wearing their remains, or was it Malivore?
Who's Landon?
Landon. The next question is from Miss Attitude. Do you think Handon will be in game?
Really?
Now we're into theories. We're like an hour, 30 minutes in. So bucker up.
Wait. Let me be perfectly clear on the last question, okay? Yes, Handon is endgame. No doubts about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's clearly there. It's literally clearly there.
Yeah, it's in the results. It's in the pudding. If you want to taste it, you can go ahead. At least you know.
I'm playing the piano, and every note is yes. Yes.
Handon podcast, Okay, so our first theory from Handon_edits. I think that they're going to let Hope grow a little without Landon, and then they're going to go and then they're going to get back together.
I think that was kind of the whole purpose of like
the whole season her growing on her own.
Yeah.
So I don't like and then plus her getting him back, I don't think she's gonna waste any more time than to get with her man. The next question is from emo_Michelson. The huge parallel that is Landon being inhabited by Malivore and Hope being inhabited by Hollow, and how we kind of discussed that. And also the greatest story of all is love. We know what that means. Handon in game.
Yep.
But the parallel, parallel.
I just love the fact that they always refer to the Hollow as the darkness, and now Malivore is the darkness. So really, like, the parallels are just like
it's hitting.
That was years in the making. Years in the making.
That's exactly years in the making.
And say a couple who is possessed together stays together.
Yeah.
So let's edit. Turn up. Let me stop. Okay. The next one from Paige is your thoughts on Hope's dream in episode 8 of season 3. Was Landon really able to contact her, or was it Hope's psychic powers warning her of what had happened to him?
I want to say in a sense it was more Hope's psychic powers, because it parallels 213 when she saw Dark Josie before she knew Dark Josie was dark, but also when she saw Landon being stabbed in the exact same place, in the exact same spot, in the exact same way, and him holding his stomach in the same way.
And she wasn't there to protect him.
Yeah. And so I think that was her, because we know that she has psychic dreams. She's always had them. We know that. And so that was definitely a psychic dream. And the whole him spitting up mud and having the Croatoan in the middle and then Malivore was literally them saying Landon is possessed by Malivore.
Yeah. And like, not only was he alive, but he wasn't your boo, girl. That was down bad.
Like, I think that she literally knew that was what happened. She just didn't want to admit that was why he was like spitting up the mud and why Malivore was there and why the cold town was there.
Like she just wanted to avoid that because like he literally disintegrated in front of her, and she was like, "Oh well, Landon's alive."
Because she wanted to assume that Malivore was stuck in the prison world, but even Clark said, "No, no prison will hold my father for long."
Right. Sadly, I wish it did though. The next theory is from Bex Vega. It says, "Could you discuss where you think Landon is now? Like in his own kind or another sort of Malivore prison? Could he be suffering or is he okay?" Well, we kind of discussed that. We think he's like a prison in his own body type of
He's not
thing.
okay, honey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like he's obviously isolated, so he's definitely probably through it right now. So he's definitely suffering. I don't think he's okay with watching love of his life not be with him and how he's basically not able to control his own body. These next two theories are from Iva. It says Handon's love referring to the last line of the prophecy.
Oh yeah, it is.
The greatest destroyer of all is love. Yes. I can't wait to see that play out. I mean, we called it before, like since last year.
Yeah, we have been saying this since the first time that thing said.
So now it's all falling into place, which means that we're at the final position of the riddle, and I can't wait to see how it's going to play out for us. The next part is I think they'll free Landon and Malivore by the end of 402 or early 403. I think 404 will be the Handon together in a good place, but separated from everyone else. They'll most likely get Malivore out of Landon. Don't you think Malivore will get a new body or Clark's? Well, damn, you kind of predicted what Robyn was saying. Yeah. And, yeah, like we agree that they're gonna be trying to get Landon out of Malivore, Malivore out of Landon between 202 and 203. I feel like 404 will definitely be the reunion. And since Malivore is definitely going to need a host, probably could be Clark or maybe they'll try.
Though, I am all for Hope and Landon leaving.
No, yeah, Robyn, you see, it's me and Pia every day.
Yeah,
telling that we want Handon away.
Like Landon and Hope need to go. They need to go on a vacation.
Yeah, they need a time out for them.
We are all for that.
Like, please.
And that could be because we know there's a train in 404. So Pia and Vit cry about that all the time and say that Handon is on the train leaving.
Yeah, listen.
The wishes we're gonna manifest that out of our day mind.
Yeah.
Other things, but we'll leave some of the other manifestations.
Yeah, private.
The last two theories, I'm going to Mark. Maybe discuss what is happening. Okay, yeah. We kind of already discussed him being in his mind, Malivore's dimension. And the last one is, could you discuss what light was in Malivore that Cleo was walking towards? They think is Landon. I think could be Landon. Could be another dimension. I just like,
what if it's to her family?
Another test for her, like Landon got a test with necromancy, then he can.
Or what if it's other muses?
Oh.
She said I mean, no, she said her grandma.
Like it could be like sisters, not her sisters, or like cousins or ancestors.
You'll have to have consume a muse at some point. So
he kept trying to consume muses because he kept trying to figure out. That was how he figured out how to make Landon, because Cleo left him an idea, but then he didn't have a muse. And so he just kept trying to consume muses in order to try to figure out how to get what he wanted. And so the light that she sees is another muse or two. Like, we assume it's Landon, and it could very well be, but it could be that it's another muse. What if it's like her grandma? Like, what if he went back to the village?
Did she say she saw her grandma like move on or something and like live her life?
Well, I think that she said she didn't go back to the village because she didn't want Malivore to go there looking for her. But who's to say he didn't?
True.
I don't know. It's just a random theory that popped into my head. Because like she's not the only muse, and
Yeah.
you would assume probably that one of her sisters, because she's the seventh daughter of a seventh daughter, is that what it is? One of her sisters would have probably had more kids, and so she might even have nieces or great nieces or whatever that are muses, because her family line didn't stop.
We'll see. We'll save all that theories for the Malivore episode, which will be our next questions. So make sure you guys send them in.
Yeah, so okay.
In conclusion, Landon Kirby deserves better.
He deserves the world. Everything. That's my son.
Yeah.
I will protect him at all costs.
I'm hoping that we kind of worked through a lot of the confusion of Landon throughout season 3. You know, we actually didn't have real Landon for very long episodes, because the last time we saw him was 306.
12 episodes. That's a crime.
Oh my god.
We got Arya. We just didn't actually get Landon. Yeah. I mean, we got Golem Landon, who is very similar to Simi Landon, which is great. And then we got Landon. But
we didn't get real Landon in a while. So.
We didn't get real Landon in a while.
Hopefully, Handon. We should cry.
She needs her Landon back.
Her Landon, but I want to tell y'all this message, Handon in game.
We also
if you don't want to see Hope with her Landon, do you beat kids too? I don't know.
What was that?
If you don't want to see Hope with Landon, just bad person. Like you must hate elderly people, or you must hate kids, animals.
We down bad over here, y'all.
We really are.
We're anyways, that was our Landon, question and theory discussion. Next episode, next time we'll be doing type of episodes will be Malivore. So any questions that you have, make sure to send it to Robyn or send it to me on Instagram, and we'll make a document and answer all your confusion. I know Malivore is definitely a confusing topic when it comes to genetics. As soon as Landon's born, that's the main confusion. So if you have any confusion, make sure to send it to us so we can discuss it. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Handon Weekly podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Handon Weekly content. Once again, you can tune in and participate in our little something do August the 1st. And until next time, all of our social medias will be in the description. We can follow us on Twitter, YouTube. You can find a Discord and talk with other Handons. You're not alone with this Handon hiatus struggle nation. So
98 more days.
Yeah, 98. So we're left the triple digits. I mean the triple digits. Now we're on the double digits. So.
Yep. And what we will have. Okay, so we're doing an episode every 2 weeks. So the next episode will be the 22nd, and then the episode after that will be the episode that Iz and I are together.
Hey, we love to see.
We can do the Hope episode just with us together. But anyways,
it's gonna be my face and just like both of our voices.
Yeah.
My computer.
So, thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Hold up.